Any kind of freestyle, it's kind of like an artist. They see a painting and they see something that someone else might not have picked up on, and they try to, portray that to the audience. And, for me, it's inventing a trick, it's finding out everything that can go wrong. And if you can visualize it and you do it, figure out, how to make that vision reality. And the months and sometimes years that go into it, it's a really great feeling.
How would you explain the mindset of trying to just constantly improve?
It's a mixture of being curious of what's possible and then slight boredom. I mean, by far my favorite tricks in general are just big, slow spins. There's a moment where you're not going up anymore, but you're not going down. You've hit that apex of your jump and you're just kind of floating there. It's just this amazing flying feeling, and you're going extremely fast, and it's just this kind of like this rush. It's just an amazing thing.
My best trick at that time in my life was a varial 720, which is basically a 720 spin with spinning the board an extra 180, which means the board does a 900 and your body does a 720. And early in the event, I made a varial 7. That's my best trick. Where do I go from here? And I thought, well, then I'll start trying 900s.
The very first year I had won the Iditarod, I had already won the Quest twice. It's 10 miles from the finish line. And I stopped. And I literally got down on my hands and knees, and I had 9 dogs. And each one of them, from the wheel dogs to the leaders, I hugged them all, and I looked them right in the eye, and I cried again. I'm about to cry again, God dang it. And, I'm telling them, so-and-so did good, and they just, they're about to change my life.
The record-setting wave, biggest wave surfed in 2020. You had said you've never been so close to such a powerful explosion. Explain that.
The noise that wave made when it broke right behind me was the scariest thing I've ever heard. And I felt humbled. It's like one of those moments where you realize you risked it again and you just put yourself out there, and you might get lucky or you might get not. And there's this like fine line. You want to be close to the fire, but you don't want to catch on fire.
How about the fastest you've ever gone on skis?
In training, I was clocked at 84. But I think, it's probably around there, 85, 86, is top speed. If you're on the highway, stick your head out the window, and that's kind of how it feels, with the wind in your face when you're skiing down the mountain, and then jump out, and that'll feel like what it feels like for us when we crash.
And so I was climbing, and then I got to a certain move that felt insecure for me, and I had to trust a foothold that I didn't want to stand on. And so I could hear all these tourists on the summit, and it was this whole crazy experience where, I'm super scared and I'd been free soloing for 2.5 hours and was getting physically or mentally exhausted, just tired of being up on this wall. I just want to be done, I'm so close. And so, ultimately I just sorted through it, and I stepped on the foot, and I did it. Getting to the top is totally surreal.
Imagine you peak in adrenaline, you give your all, you live to the fullest that day, you're exhausted. The next day you wake up and you're in your living room? It's a contrast of a very intense emotion and then life being very quiet again. And I think that is a challenge for most of us.